Good evening, everyone. Hope you're, as always, awful levels in my own headset. That's better. Hope you're all having a fantastic week. Good to have you here. And serializing. What's for lunch? Is it good? Is there enough to share? Tonight, I don't know how late we'll go. We'll see. We'll see what we have in store. As I said on the previous stream, I was thinking of doing the Crypto Pals kind of crypto programming journey, and then Elttam went today and dropped a new set of challenges, Disparate Penguin. So I chucked a poll out on Twitter, and the people have spoken. Right now, it's sitting at 57% wanted Disparate Penguin, 34% wanted Crypto Pals, and 9% just wanted to see the results. So we're going to do Disparate Penguin. Barney, part 1 of N? Isn't it part 2.1 of N? No, Barney, this is a new series. I'm going to call Disparate Penguin a new series. So don't freak me out like that, dude. You're making me think my title slide was wrong. We'd have to go back and re-record and start all over. But no, we'll call this a new series. So Disparate Penguin at libctf.so looks to be a series of challenges put out by the Elttam crew. We've just gotten off the back of doing their Insatiable Birdie web and crypto series, and now we're picking up Disparate Penguin, which looks to be a bundle of miscellaneous Linux challenges. I do like a good Linux challenge that do not require memory corruption to solve and have varying levels of difficulty, style, and potential annoyance. So that sounds fun. Now it's bundled up and distributed as a Vagrant. I don't know if you call it an image. I don't really use Vagrant, so this was my first time getting Vagrant up and running, which is pretty easy. But I guess the reason for that warning is, let's see how things go. Let's see if there's brokenness. And speaking of brokenness, my new battery for my laptop arrived today, and it's making things run so much smoother. Turns out if you've got a laptop with a dead battery, it appears to have an impact on your performance. I'm guessing the machine throttles itself because either it's too thirsty and wants battery power and mains power, or it just freaks out and throttles because it's not sure what's going on. It's got a 0% battery. It's in some sort of life-saving mode. So hopefully things will be a little bit smoother inside the VM. We'll see. So offline, I did the Vagrant up and did a Vagrant SSH, and got in and just fiddled with SSH settings so that I could then SSH in straight to the Han user, and that's where I have left off. So aside from doing a little bit of setup, this is new to me. Apparently all challenges are in this /challenges directory, and the difficulty estimates are relative to other challenges in this bundle. Barney, yeah, I was thinking the same. Han beer, or is Han... does Han mean something else in another language? Does it mean user in another language? I don't know. We're talking Disparate Penguin. I'm guessing the penguin is the Tux penguin, but anyway. Han India is Han Indian? I don't know. So anyway. Looks like people are just chitter-chatting in chat. If there's something I missed that I should have seen, do yell out and let me know. Han Hahimoto was the name of the Apocalypse dude at B-Sides Canberra theme. Okay. Fair enough. Good to see you, Volvant. Welcome. Thank you for putting out some fresh challenges for us all to enjoy as well. It is German, do a translate on it. It sounds like with Hashimoto. Hashimoto? Han Hashimoto? I'm guessing it was maybe fictional just for B-Sides anyway. Anyway. Menz's work, yeah. I don't know if Menz is much of a Linux challenge creator. Maybe he is. Maybe he is. Okay. How about we get cracking so we can... quick stream's a good stream, hey? Let's see how many of these we can get through tonight. I'm guessing... ease up there, Barney. Ease up. I'm guessing we're going to go top to bottom through these. We've got some trivial challenges, easy, back to trivial, up to moderate, and then down to easy for a nice palate cleanser. So I'm guessing we just go top to bottom. Hide and seek. So here's the box that we're looking at. Apparently in /challenges. Okay, we've got Alpha, Catwalk, Einstein, hide and seek. Hide and seek being the first challenge. Let's have a look at what's in there. Flag.txt, cat flag.txt, permission denied. So we've got a user, hide and seek. The file is readable and writable only by that user. And there's nothing else in this directory. So I'm guessing there's a prevesc elsewhere on the system that gets us hide and seek permissions. Can we see their home directory? Okay, so in /home we've got Han and Vagrant. Grep hide from /etc/password. Their username is home hide and seek, but there is no home directory there by the looks of it. Frenchie, no. Crypto Pals, no. The people who wanted Crypto Pals got beaten in the poll. If you wanted Crypto Pals, you should have got your sock puppet accounts out and got it up there. So we're getting into the Linux challenges. Good to have you here, Frenchie. Welcome. Frenchie, I think you said you were lurking the other day, so is your account brand new? Created May 2018. No, it's not new. You just bothered to sign in, hey? And I just screwed up my layout. What have I done? That looks better. Oh yeah, Frenchie, you wanted me to do chat pause due to scroll. You wanted Kubernetes, didn't you? Yeah. It's on the list, dude. I promise it's on the list. Alright, so where are we at? We need to become hide and seek. Hide and seek has a home directory set, but it doesn't exist. Find. How do we find by user? Is it -uid? Find /-uid Han? -user Han? Find / I'm just checking to see if this works for me. There we go. Okay, cool. So we can probably do find /-user hide and seek. Send the errors to dev null. Okay, so it looks like nmap is owned by hide and seek. And it's set UID. So what does this mean? The nmap binary is owned by hide and seek, and it's set UID, which means when we run nmap, we assume the permissions of the owner, hide and seek. Now, I get a little bit confused when it comes to set UID. I think it sets the effective user ID, but not the user ID, and there's some, I guess, funny bits and pieces to do with that. But anyway, we'll deal with the nuances when we get to them. So when we run nmap, we actually run it as the hide and seek user. So for example, can we, while true, do psef grep nmap grep -v grep done nmap 127001. Yeah, so when we run nmap against localhost, we can see it pops up in the process listing, and it's being run as hide and seek. So what can we do with nmap that will, I mean, ideally get us a shell and a local privilege escalation, or even just show us the contents of files? What if we do nmap, I think -I big L takes input from a list of hosts and networks, and you can give it a file name. Nmap il challenges hide and seek flag. Failed to resolve libctf, there's the flag. So I mean, that's the cheap and nasty way. Yeah, serializing, good call. Great minds, hey? That's, I think, the cheap and nasty way to do it. Nmap also lets you write, I think they're Lua scripts. They're like plugins or extensions. We could have also used a Lua NSE script to actually get code execution, but for the purpose of a CTF, if we read a file, I think we call that a win, don't we? Shell it. Menstrual wants to see it shelled. Menz, did you write any of these challenges? Did you write this one? Are you peeved off that I got it the easy way and you want to see me do it the hard way? Okay, nmap NSE. Set UID nmap is the oldest trick in the book. Okay, men's fair enough. I'm so sorry I can't read this name. A Frenchie. Been studying cybersec recently. I'm impressed with how smooth that was. How much experience do you have? The real answer is, I think it's probably about 10 years now. Would it be? Coming up on 10 years at the very least. The cheeky answer, go away, chat paused you to scroll. The cheeky answer is, I've been around long enough to see the set UID nmap a few times around. I think I've actually I've created a CTF with set UID nmap in it as well. So I've built this challenge. It's an oldie but a goodie. Okay, nmap. How do we write what's the NSE stuff? And the other thing is as well, I run Linux on the desktop, so I'm fairly comfortable with Linux. Yeah, that's a cool trick, hey. Sending errors to null is 2 greater than dev null, or you can do 2 greater than &1 to send errors to standard output so that you can grep it. Like often help text is standard error. Like if we did nmap grep nmap, okay, that worked, but a whole bunch of tools for some reason send their help to standard error. So you go and send standard error to standard out, and then you can grep it nicely. How do I do the NSE stuff? -- script equals Lewis scripts. Right. So if we go nmap script equals, here's another cool trick, cd $bracket mctemp-d. It drops you into a throwaway temporary directory. Touch foo.nsc nmap, is it -- script, did we see? -- script equals. I think there's a, hang on, script equals foo.nsc did not match a category, file name, or directory. I think nmap only wants to read strace. I think nmap only wants to read NSE scripts out of certain places. So we can put it in this mess in our home directory. Oh no, I did do stat / and then did an access, and then did an open, and then did a syntax error. Wait, what's going on? Is it a syntax error? Or is it... Okay, so when I... Okay, alright. So when I strace nmap, it is happy to look for /foo.nsc, and I get a different error. But when I just run nmap as is, it doesn't want to see the file. And maybe that's because it's actually running as a different user. Aha. Chmod 777, the current directory. Chmod. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do chmod 777. I shouldn't do that. Chmod 755. That's what I should do. Chmod 755 foo. No, chmod 644 foo. So now the current directory is readable and executable by everyone, but only writable by me. Foo.nsc is readable, writable by me, readable by everyone else. Does that fix the error? Okay, now we get the syntax error. That's good. That's good. Can you make a program to record how many ZZZ you type in 1 week, please? Sure. It'll be a big number. Be a big number. A Frenchie was looking for help with things like standard out, dev null. Yeah. So OX Frenchie's got you a hookup here. Essentially, proc self fd. Every process has 3 kind of file descriptors you get for free. Number 2 is standard error, where errors and warnings and stuff go. Number 1 is standard out, which is when you do like echo foo, pipe it to word count to count the numbers of words in foo. Standard out is what gets passed through pipelines and redirected when you redirect the output of stuff. And then 0 is standard input. Dev null is a device on the file system which acts as a giant bit bucket, and you can just like echo foo straight to dev null and it just disappears. It's a device that eats up input and throws it away. So dev null is kind of separate to your standard in, standard out, standard error. These are your per process plumbing tools, and dev null is a system-wide bit bucket where you just throw your trash. Okay, so now we've got our nmap running and reading a NSE script. So now in Lua, run shell command os.execute. That sounds right. os.execute bin dash. So now we've got a shell, but we're still Han because dash drops privileges. And there's a command line flag to stop it doing that, I think. Dash P, do not attempt to reset effective UID if it does not match UID. This is not set by default to help avoid incorrect usage by set UID root programs via system or popen. So shells by default drop your privileges to try to make exploitation of insecure stuff harder, but you can turn it off. No, you can't turn it off. I think it got patched out of dash, but they haven't updated the man page maybe? Dash p priv. Did they remove that from dash? What is dash? Dash is, I think it's a stripped down bash. Bash versus dash. I think it's just a smaller bash. Debian Almquist shell. It's a POSIX compliant implementation of bin sh. Dash is not bash compatible, but bash tries to be mostly compatible with POSIX and thus dash. Yeah, so it's 4 times faster than bash. So it's kind of like a drop-in replacement that systems can put there so that all the shell scripts kind of start quicker, which was really important back before systemd. Swapping out the system's bash for dash made your shell scripts that stitch together your startup much quicker, I think. Is this Tarvis complaining about this? No, it wasn't. Okay, Tarvis sent a patch to dash. Okay, there's something else we can try to do. Vim get shell.c. int main char star arg v. Int arg c. It's been a while since I've written c. Int arg c char star arg v. Is that right? I'm making so many people cringe with this, I'm sure. GCC get sure. GCC didn't complain, so that'll do. Okay, so now that we're in C, set UID. Oh, this trick only works if you're root, I think, so that's not going to work here. Because if we're running as non-root, we can't do the set UID trick to set our real and effective user IDs and whatnot. So what's the trick to doing this? What's the trick? Damn it, Menstrual, we were going to move on, but you made me stop. If we just run shit, does shit drop privileges? Just for giggles, if we run ID instead of sh, okay, so somewhere along the line we're dropping privileges even before we get to dash, which is probably why the dash p didn't work. What if we use dash to call another binary? It looks like we've already dropped privileges well and truly before now. Even if we run ID from the Lua script, we're not whoever we're trying to solve the challenge for anymore. Who are we trying to solve the challenge for? Hide and seek. Nmap is dropping privilege. I don't know if it's nmap, but what if we strace again? Vim foo. So we're running ID. strace -e exec ve. I think we have to strace follow. So it looks like when you do os.execute in a Lua program, Lua runs sh -c to run your command. And this sh is dropping privileges. So even if we do dash -p inside here, the sh is probably dropping our privileges. By the way, strace, for those who don't know, is a syscall tracer. So you can run stuff under strace and you can watch all of the system calls it makes. In this case, we're just filtering for exec ve system calls, and we can boop, boop, watch them all pop out. Is there another way to run programs under Lua that doesn't involve the sh? Lua execute program. Maybe io.p open. Worth a try. Still running the shell. Okay, so men's wasn't trolling. It's actually probably worth doing now, I think. I didn't bother doing it because I thought it, same as you, I thought it was going to be silly easy. But turns out maybe now it's worth playing around with. Sorry, bear with me for a second while I read. I know it's the boring part of the stream, but it's the important part of the stream. Barney says netcat localhost. Thing is, Barney, by the time we get to io.popen or os.execute, the nmap scripting engine, which is running Lua scripts, is running our command inside sh-c. So it's going like sh-c echo hello world, so that you can not have to bother parameterizing your argv. You can just YOLO straight out to the shell and use all the shell meta characters and globbing and things like semicolons that you want, which is nice for some, handy for others who like writing exploits against stuff that uses sh-c liberally. And when this sh happens, that's dropping our privileges. So whether we run id in here, whether we run netcat in here, by the time that runs, we've already lost our privileges of hide and seek. So I'm thinking, is there another way we can execute commands in Lua that doesn't use the shell? That's what I want to know. Turns out maybe we can write C code and load that into Lua. That will help us avoid the shell. That's boring. Array. Is there a way of running programs that parameterizes with an array, not a string? Because that will tend to avoid the shell. Yeah, so os.execute passes command to the OS shell. We don't want to go to the OS shell. We want to directly run whatever we want. Kind of like the difference in C between system, which just takes a. So this is what Lou is doing. Taking a string and wrapping that in an execl of bin sh minus c, our command. Ooh, GTFO bins, that is a great idea. Dr. Show. GTFO bins. I suspect we'll be using GTFO bins in many other challenges, so it's probably good to have it open. Then again, it's probably also better to try and do it without GTFO bins. Nmap's shell I thought was removed. Nmap -- interactive I thought was dead. Yeah, -- interactive got removed. So that won't work. -- script equals. Yeah, so this is still doing an io.popen inside its script, which runs a shell, which drops our privileges. So I don't think that's any good. Same thing here, io.popen. Nmap can upload files over the network. Download files over the network. This could be interesting. Yeah, right. The HTTP fetch script. Oh, we can just write files in Lua. Writing files might... then again, hideandseek doesn't have a home directory, so I don't know where we'd write files that could do us any good. File read. This we did this, but in a much nastier way. Okay, what's going on here? Limited suid. If it is used to run commands, it only works on systems like Debian less than or equal to stretch that allow the default shell to run with suid privileges. Sudo show -c, copy which nmap to dot, and then set UID. Okay, that's just setting up the sample. Yeah, so we're trying this here, os.execute, we're getting our privileges dropped. Does Lua really not have a way that we can do like a exec style process invocation? Exec process. Without shell. Here we've got another io.popen. Where's Lua? Neither of these are any good to us. I do kind of like the look of this. But is this actually Lua? Yes, it is. So how is this module working under the hood? There's some magic in here we can borrow. And what is this exec business? You know what? I'm gonna move on. What do we think? Should we continue trying to get Lure to cough up a shell, or should we move on and keep learning other stuff? I'm happy to do it if we think this is worth maybe a whole stream, but I'm kind of itching to check more of these challenges out. Yeah, man, maybe we can put this on the list, put it on the stack, and cough it up. Barney, I'm not sure. Full or nothing. All right. Barney, you're losing 2-1 now. Serializing says to move on. Moving on. Yep, moving on. Would have been a cool challenge. Maybe worth doing another time. But let's not let ourselves get too bogged down. Next challenge is Alpha Linux MISC Trivial. So we've got another flag.txt with nothing else in the directory. So can our find trick find / user alpha tell us what else is available? Okay, apparently alpha owns no other files. The directory is readwritex for alpha, readable executable for CTF, nothing else for anyone else. Apparently alpha has no files elsewhere on the file system. The file is alpha. Is there anything in our sudo list? We can do stuff as lesson learned, which will be surely good call, @Wolf. Surely useful in a following challenge. Doesn't help us for alpha though. Grep alpha etc password. We've got a password hash directly in etc password for alpha. So let's go to here. My brain just completely broke on that password. I probably got it wrong. No, we didn't. Cool. New session. Docker. So this is just a Docker image that has a whole bunch of tools in it. Vim hash.txt. Jam it in there. Opt John run John hash.txt. AVX2 is required for this build. All right then. Opt John. Make clean. How do you make John? CD source, make clean, make. So we'll rebuild John and throw it at this hash. Probably could at Wolf, although was it salted? $1. What style of hash is $1? I can see another dollar here, so I think that might be a salt at Wolf. So you might be able to feed it into someone like CrackStation, but actually while John makes itself, let's throw this at CrackStation and see what we get. Serializing $1 is salted SHA-1, is it? Okay, CrackStation takes non-salted hashes, so I think we have to do it ourselves. At Wolf, yeah, but I think it's got a salt in it. $1, and you can see here there's some stuff between dollar signs, and I think that's a salt. John is still building. This machine sucks. Decode.fr. Hey Barney. Kind of scared to go visiting your links, Barney. You sure it's worth going to? You sure it's safe? Do I have John on the actual system? User bin John. User local bin John. I don't think I do on this box. All right, I'm going to it out of the VM. decode.fr. Dr. Show, probably. The thing is, at the moment, I'm streaming over 4G, so I don't want to be doing Docker pulls. Yeah, Barney, I think you got a typo there. This website doesn't look any good to me. Yeah, good idea though, Dr. Show. We'll just build it. Burn up some CPU rather than burning 4G data. Maybe while this builds, we go and run a different challenge, hey? Let's leave John to build and we'll come back to him. We'll move on to opensesame in the meantime. Ah, this is going to totally destroy my YouTube timestamps. Oh, come on, John. Probably doesn't help this is like the jumbo build of John either. We've got a lot of hash formats getting built right now. Is it feasible to build it smaller? Looks like I only bothered cloning the jumbo branch anyway. Ah, well. decode.fr/en. We'll make it English. Is this actually a hash cracker, Barney? Well, while this builds, I guess we've got nothing to lose. decode.fr/en. No E. Where are you telling me, Barney, I should be typing in my salted hash exactly? Because I just don't think this is like a crossword solver. Yeah, maybe they can, Dr. Show. Yeah, but does it do salted hashes though? SHA-1 decode.fr/SHA-1-hash. I'm just not salt prefix SHA. Salt plus word. This takes hashes. Does it take crypt hashes though? Yeah, well, if I don't have an ad blocker running in this VM, so that might be why. Oh, come on, John, hurry up and build. Sudo apt update, sudo apt install, John. Wrong password. Pulling up the privacy screen so I don't spill my brand new Docker password. Bitcoin, yeah, probably. Probably could do that, hey. Mind you, I've only got 2 CPU cores passed through to this VM anyway, so it wouldn't help that much. Good to have you here, Bitcoin. Welcome. That probably made me drop a whole bunch of frames doing that download too. Well. Serializing, can I paste the hash on chat? Did I fix my VMs? Copy paste, let me check. Copy that. Let me just paste it off stream real quick. Yeah, no, my copy paste is still broken, so unless someone wants to type that out, they're more than welcome to grab it. Yeah, cheers Bitcoin. Bitcoin is really good to be streaming again. I'm super stoked about it. Alright, so I've just pulled John down. I sometimes have issues running John off the system though. John hash.txt. I have like weird permission issues running John out of repos. Word list equals opt. Nope. Echo opt sec lists passwords. Rock you. Nope. Dark code. That's some pretty abysmal hash cracking performance going on here. Can someone else crack this hash for me, please? Probably could have actually typed it into my second machine and had it cracked by now, actually. Yeah, it is, isn't it, Atwolf? Maybe if I stop the build. It's getting faster now, but still pretty slow. Slowly getting faster. Men's bad cat. Is that the that's the clear text, is it? Thank you, menstrual. Bad cat is the clear text, is it? SU-alpha. Bad cat. There we go. Perfect. Bitcoin, was that a trick with Echo to get tab completion working? Yep, it sure was. Use that one in good health. Cat challenges alpha flag. And there's the second flag. Yeah, you're welcome, dude. So for anyone who missed what Bitcoin's happy with there, sometimes when you're doing tab completion, yeah, you go -- word list equals, you go /opt /sec list, and tab just doesn't work. Dollar bracket, you can do either echo or ls, opt, sec lists, passwords, dark code, close that bracket, and yeah. It's a way of getting tab completion when your shell doesn't seem to want to let you tab complete stuff. Just do it in a subshell with echo or ls. Cool trick. Alrighty, next challenge, hey? So that's alpha down. Thank you, Men's, for cracking that hash. Yeah, so that, for anyone who doesn't know about hash cracking, I was building a hash cracker and I was running a hash cracker and it runs really slowly on this VM that's on an awful old laptop. Essentially, you're just trying many passwords to see if when you salt them with this crypt salt here, does it hash to equal this part of the password hash, in which case you've got the correct password. So hash cracking, normally child's play, but use a better laptop than I've got for doing it. Moving on to opensesame. Did I see was opensesame? No, lesson learned was the sudo that we had. Open Sesame. Okay, so we've got a C program, opensesame.c. It's built as Open Sesame, set UID, Open Sesame. Flag.txt is owned by Open Sesame, and it ain't readable by anyone else. So what is this? Just ruined my shell. What does this C source code say? Okay. So the flag is defined as something static. We've got a function called getSecret. We'll come back to that. The main function. So the usage is the program, you give it a secret and you give it a command line. And then it does a stir comp, the secret argv1 against the return value of getSecret, or the string returned by getSecret. And if that succeeds, the stir comp, the stir comparison, then we do some setUID, juggling, printing, setUID, juggling, dropping proofs. Hold on, what is the return of stir comp? Let's just run this first. Open Sesame. Secret xxxx or zzz, command line ID. Okay, so stir comp. Right, so stir comp probably returns 0 if the strings are equal. Yeah, so it returns an integer less than, equal to, or greater than 0 if the strings are found respectively to be less than. Okay, so when the two strings match, stir comp returns equal to 0. That is a crazily worded description there. Right, so if your secret doesn't match the secret, then it drops and whatever's your privileges. Then it runs your command, but if you get the secret wrong, you run the command as yourself, which is no good to us. So what does the secret function do? Opens the flag, oh joy. Creates a buffer, reads the flag into the buffer. If buffer sterlen is new line, then we null terminate it. Right, okay. I think I know what to do here. So you would need to run Open Sesame, then you'd need to provide the contents of the flag, which we obviously don't know, to then be able to run commands as the user so that we could read the flag that we don't know. So it's kind of like chicken and egg. But this string comparison here, if we give a null byte at the beginning of our argv1, then this empty string should compare just fine. Man stir comp. Yeah, so stern comp compares only the first at most n bytes. So I reckon stir comp's gonna early out, like it's gonna bail when it gets a null byte. So if we run Open Sesame, Python -c print, no, import sys, sys.stoutout.write null. So we give a secret of just the null byte and then run ID, and it doesn't like it at all. Do we need to wrap this in quotes maybe? Didn't like it. Didn't like it. Maybe this way of giving the argument of a null byte on the command line is no good. Let's go to a temp directory. Barney says assembly. I don't think we need to read the assembly, dude. We've got the source code. I think that should be enough for us. Hello, I'm sorry, I can't read your name. Gedzo77. I'm well. How are you, Gedzo? We're doing some CTF challenges this evening. Vim run opensesame.py. Do we have Python 3? Yes, we do. Great. Import subprocess. Subprocess. I think if we do a subprocess dot, what in the subprocess family will actually let us interact with this shell? Subprocess dot run. Sure. Yeah, okay, so we can interact with the shell there, cool. Challenges, opensesame. So here's the file that we want to run. And we want to pass it a null byte as the first argument and a command to run as the next argument. Value error embedded null byte. Okay, so you can't have null bytes in argv, hey? What if we just run opensesame with an empty string for the secret? No good. Dang it, okay. Alright, I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break. Let's all have a think about what we might do with this crazy, you have to know the secret to be able to run the command, but the secret is the flag, so it's, you know, chicken and egg problem. Let's have a think, and we'll reconvene in a couple of minutes to see what we can do. See you soon. Alrighty, we are back. So we kind of jumped into this one a little bit headstrong. I thought that there was maybe some weirdness about kind of truncating the first argument to strcomp and then having it just win. Maybe that's not how strcomp works. And I mean, by passing an empty string as argv1, we kind of get that anyway. We get a empty string, which is just a null byte, pointed to a null byte as this first argument. It didn't work, so I don't think that's what we have to do. So what else could it be? If we read this a little more carefully, we might get some ideas. So the main function, we've got a uid and a gid for some local variables here. If we don't give the right number of arguments, we complain and exit. How is this hacking? You're looking at string functions. Yes, Math Boy does math. Hacking involves a sad amount of string functions. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to exploit this program into executing code as it's a local privilege escalation. It's a CTF challenge, so it's not necessarily a realistic attack scenario. It's a manufactured challenge in which we learn about how string comparison functions work and maybe can be bypassed in the event of other bugs. So it's more of like a learning ground for understanding primitives, so we can do bigger and better computer hacking one day when we're all grown up. So you're right, it's kind of synthetic, but that's a CTF challenge, right? So now if we fail this check here, if strcomp of argv1 with the output of getSecret, which we'll have a look at in a minute, but I understand it to just basically return the contents of the flag. If this strcomp returns anything non-zero, and strcomp returns 0 when the strings match. If it's non-zero, we do this, which is get resuid, get resgid, which let's read the man pages of. Get resuid gets the real, effective, and saved user group IDs. So you give it pointers to each of real user ID, effective user ID, saved user ID, and there's one for UID, one for GID, and it basically goes and writes out your current real, effective, and saved user ID to the arguments you give. So we're getting the current real, effective, and saved user ID and group UID. We're printfing them and telling us what we currently are. And then we're setting the real, effective, and saved UID to the real UID, the real UID, the real UID, setting the group ID, or the real, effective, and saved group ID to real group ID, real group ID, real group ID, which basically undoes all the goodness that the set UID binary gives us, which has the effect of dropping our privileges. Then we get the new value of each of the real, effective, and saved user ID, group ID, and print them out again to go, ha, look, your privileges are dropped. And then, after this optional dropping of privileges, we run bin bash -c exec ve arg v0 with arg v and env-p. So we run bash -c with arg v. What's going on? Oh no, we replace arg v0, which is the binary we just ran, with bin bash. We replace arg v1 with -c, which replaces the secret we gave, and then we run arg v0 arg v, which basically just reruns, but instead of running against the binary, we run bin bash -c. So that's how we run our commands. Got it. Shouldn't stircomp return true if the strings are the same? It returns 0 if the strings are the same. It returns -1 or +1 if they're less than or greater than each other. So it's like a quality and greater than, less than, equal to thing. Returns 0 if they're the same. Math boy. So this second argument of stircomp is get secret. And get secret, the flag path is hard-coded to /challenges /opensesame /flag.txt. And get secret sets up some local variables. File descriptor is -1, buffer is null. Then FD is we open the flag read-only. If we fail to open it, we return null. And if this ever happens, then this here will probably blow up horribly. Then we allocate a buffer. And if that fails, we return null. Then we read from the file descriptor, which is the file descriptor of this open file, into the buffer. And then if the last byte in that buffer is new line, we replace it with a null and return it. So this seems to be simply returning the contents of the flag, which gets used in our stircomp. And if we don't know the flag, we can't run commands as the escalated privileges to get the flag. I don't think I've missed anything there. But I'm not sure. What's the man page of stircomp say? Let's have a closer read of this. Yeah, rereading this, my null byte empty string trick doesn't really seem to make too much sense, because it will just result in, oh, that's nothing, and this one's something, therefore they're not equal. There'll be a number 1 or a number -1 returned. So what else can we do? Pwn function, yo, good to see you, dude. We're doing some local Linux stuff. We're currently trying to exploit something that takes a password as argv1. If we get the password correct, it runs argv2, except the password is the flag. So we don't know how to... We need to get the flag so we can run arbitrary commands to get the flag, which seems interesting. And we can see the priv dropping happening here. So we used to be effectively user 1004, but it gets dropped to 1001. Have I tried to play King of the Hills? No, I haven't played any King of the Hill contests or challenges or games. I'd probably be terrible at them. I hate the idea of it. I don't know, it's anxiety inducing knowing someone's running around your box. Like, you know, we all have jobs defending boxes, but to know that there's people running around your boxes is terrifying. Pwn function, libctf.so. You can go to Disparate Penguin and then do some vagrant magic to get it up and running. Alternatively, the code is here if you can read quickly enough. Alternatively, you can probably fish it out of their Docker. Not Docker, GitHub repo. Well, could you brute force the flag? That doesn't really feel like... You totally could. Doesn't really feel right to me. Could we do some sort of timing attack? Maybe? Timing attack on stircomp, but that feels kind of awful. Stircomp, yeah, well, stircomp does do greater than less than, but does that really give us anything? Because irregardless, effectively, whether it's less than or greater than, this will execute. So how would exploiting the less than greater than give us anything? Given that the stircomp returns 1 when S1 is greater than S2, then that if statement is only running in that case. Red Fox, it'll also run if it returns -1. Right? Won't an if run if it's non-zero? -1, +1. -1 doesn't really exist, it's just, you know, all ones. It's an illusion. -1's just a really, really, really big number. So we don't actually gain any information as to whether the comparison is less than or returning 1 or -1. I mean, there's maybe a timing attack, but this doesn't really feel like a timing attack. What difficulty is this? Easy. Yeah, it feels kind of awful. GDB and patch the return value. Frenchie, if you run something in GDB, it drops privileges. And if it drops privileges, it won't be able to read the flag to know what the secret value is. And life would be so easy if you could debug setuid processes. Unfortunately, Linux is smarter than that. Pwn function. Is there a file handle that's not closed? Oh, yes, there is. I think I get it now. File descriptor is open flag read only, and it never gets closed. So, does that mean we can open sesame with a bad password? Can we do like echo hello? Can we run multiple commands here? If we wrap it in single quotes, can we run multiple commands? Yes, we can. lsla proc self fd. Proc self fd3 is an open file handle to flag.txt. Surely we can't just go and read it straight out of here, correct? Like that's way too simple. Permission denied. Cat less than &3. Less than &3? What if we just, drop the shell. Cat less than &3. We've definitely got this dangling file descriptor, but I don't know quite how to read. Do we have to seek it? Yeah, very nice spot, pwn function, well done. Do we need to seek back to the beginning of the open file before we try and read from it? @wolf, that file is owned by your user. This is a symlink @wolf. This link is owned by me, that's true, but what it points to is not owned by me. So if I just try and, like, okay, read link -f will probably resolve it, I think. Rad link, read link. Yeah, so when we try and cat it, we're going to follow that symlink and try and read it and get turned around. Yeah, pwn function, I like this. This is the fact this is like returning nothing is kind of promising to me, because I think it just means that we've seeked to the end of the file. So is there without writing a C program that seeks it, is there an easy cheats way to do it in the shell? Shell seek fd. @wolf, can you trace it? Yeah, but when you trace set UID programs, you drop privileges. See, I like this. This seems like what we're looking at. What if we just drop the Python fd open? I just burped straight into the microphone, I'm so sorry. Yeah, what if we do this? Opensesame zzz python 3 import os, and then f equals os.fd open 3. I like that. Dir f dot seek 0 f dot readline. There we go. Done. Pwn function, very nicely spotted. I actually have never exploited anything like this before. That's really sexy. So yeah, if we go back up to the source code, get secret leaves a file descriptor open, and main does an exec VE to replace the process with bin bash -c, whatever we specified as the command line. So just dropping straight to Python 3 lets us pick up that open file descriptor, seek or rewind it back to the start of the file, and then read a line off of it. Very, very cool. I dig. Moving on, what have we got now? Lesson learned. So lesson learned, this looked like the sudo -l trick, right? Challenges, lesson learned. Yeah, Wolf, I like that one too. That's cool. So I saw this before. If you run sudo -l, it tells you what your user is allowed to sudo. So we're allowed to do sudo as lesson learned without needing to know our own password. We can run the bin more command. So sudo -u lesson learned bin more. This should be easy. So we can just bin more flag.txt, and there's the flag. I guess alternatively, if we bin more a long file, longer than we've given space for in the terminal, etc password, can you bang out of bin more? Yeah, so you run more or less, and you can do bang ID, and it'll actually run shell commands from within more. So we can actually get a full-blown shell as lesson learned if we want to. @wolf, they need to swap the difficulty of those two, probably. What was the difficulty? We've got, to be fair, we've got easy and trivial. So no, they don't need to swap the difficulty of those two. The Open Sesame, maybe you need to bump it up a little bit. Lesson learned. I mean, if you didn't know about sudo minus L, or if you just forgot to run it, yeah, exactly, Outwolf, they're not in order. Yeah, I know there's been a lot of challenges where I've spent ages looking for a privesc, and it turns out it was in sudo, and I just didn't think to check sudo minus L. So whatTHEarch, moderate, so we're getting a little bit spicier now. whatTHEarch. So we've got spim.c, spim, which is a setuid binary owned by whatTHEarch, and flag.txt is a file writable by whatTHEarch. Exactly, Red Fox. You can really easily get blinders and totally miss stuff, hey? So what does spim.c say? Printf hello world return 0. Wow, so what's going on here? What is the architecture of spim? Setuid, 32-bit elf. I'm guessing we're not on a 32-bit box. So we're on a 64-bit box, and spim is a 32-bit elf that just does hello world, if the source code that sits right next to it is to be believed. So is there a trick? Oh, spim, mips, good point. Keek, I'm going to call you Keek if that's okay. Spim is mips backwards. Gotta love the source, the size difference indeed. So we've got a 32-bit binary on a 64-bit box. The 32-bit binary does nothing interesting, if the source code is to be believed. Let's just load it up in a debugger. GDB is not installed. Lovely. I've got a shell here as the vagrant user, so I should be able to do sudo apt update and sudo apt install GDB. So you can't see this, I'm running this off outside the VM, but I'm just installing GDB in the challenge box. And really I'm just doing it so I can disassemble main and make sure there's nothing cheeky going on. Yeah, pwn function, just a printf call, that's all we get. It is dynamically linked, so it will be pulling libc from somewhere. Okay, so LDD spim says it's not dynamic, but file tells us it is dynamically linked, so that's kind of curious. I don't think this is actually a MIPS binary. File is telling us it's a ELF 32-bit binary. Oh, hang on, MIPS. It is MIPS. I totally missed that. But running it works. How curious. I don't think GDB is going to help us. You're right. Totally correct. Maybe we need to pull this challenge down and have a look offline. What am I doing? SCP. No, it's not in my history. Oh, of course it's not. I'm in a Docker container here. CD Twitch. Make directory. What's this series called? Disparate Penguin. Disparate Penguin. So let's pull the binary down. Okay, so we got the binary. I'm going to get rid of this. No, I'm going to leave John there in case we need him later. 3 John. I hope we don't need John later. That was horrible before. Twitch. Disparate Penguin. I'm just going to run it from here. Bear with me 1 second while I get some tools up and running. Serializing, they have QEMU in the image, which maps MIPS executables to be run by QEMU. At Wolf, yeah, totally. I love Tmux. Okay, so here, I haven't done MIPS stuff before, but anyway, we've got GDB, we've got Binary Ninja now, so we can actually see that, yes indeed, this doesn't look anything like x86. And the main function, I can't even read MIPS. I'm in danger. I'm in a lot of danger. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing now. I don't know what I'm doing at all. Let's strace. Spim. What happens? A lot of output here. Let me just quickly page through this and see if anything jumps out as something worth pulling strings on. So we've definitely got QEMU stuff being pulled in during the execution. Serializing would suggest Atwolf's suggestion. What did Atwolf suggest? Atwolf, what did I miss? Hex dump it. Well, I've got it open in Binary Ninja here. There's not a lot of code, as to be expected from basically just putzing hello world. So I'm guessing maybe there's something funky with like MIPS set UID binary then being run with QEMU, perhaps. I'm going to filter strace for exec.ve and see what we get. I'm going to follow. We get nothing. How does this QEMU magic work? Keek says PT interp. I'm sorry, I don't speak MIPS, so I'm not entirely sure what you're referring to or suggesting. It's apparently running binaries from any architecture in Linux with QEMU and bin FMT misc. I don't have copy paste going, so I'm going to have to find that article myself. Own your bits Linux MIPS QEMU. There we go. Proxys FS bin FMT misc. I don't know what bin FMT is, so I probably should be reading up on this, shouldn't I? Proxys FS bin FMT QEMU MIPS. It's a 0-byte file owned by root. What is bin FMT? Bin format? Is that what I should be saying? So user mode QEMU, hey? This is bizarre. I can't believe this works. QEMU user. I've never seen this before or played this before. This is cool. Bin FMT misc. QEMU MIPS in the system. You can run GDB stub and everything. Very cool. Bin FMT misc. Oh, that's what you were talking about here, serializing. Nice. Oh, hang on. So these are files. They're 0 bytes, but they've got stuff in them still, do they? Because they're in proxys. There's magic happening. Okay. So let's cat that file. This 0 bytes thing could have kept stuff hidden from me for a while. So the interpreter is user local bin QEMU MIPS. I don't know what magic or mask is. I don't know what flags or even offset is. What is this file? Read write X. Nothing. Bitcoin can't trust stat for procfs. Yes. I should probably have known that, shouldn't I? Magic, yeah, like magic numbers, true, for like file and stuff. Got it, yeah. Yep, cool. Oh yeah, is that like ELF? 7F? No, 7F is not E. XXD, MIP, SPIM, head, N1. Okay, so 7F. Okay, yeah, 7F always begins at the beginning, then ELF. And this is 7F, ELF, I'm guessing. Cool. So what is the security concern with this whole pattern of magic? The interpreter is that. What does this give us? Does QEMU MIPS have environment variables that we can QEMU MIPS? Am I spelling that right? Yeah. Man QEMU. Man QEMU MIPS. Sorry about that. For bumping the mic. I'm guessing it's not as surely it's not as simple as environment variables for the win, right? what's all this called? Bin format misc. QEMU environment variable. Hi, is this pwn or reverse? All we know is that it's I think it's just Linux flavored. What are we told? whatTHEarch, Linux misc, moderate difficulty, and it seems to be some cross architecture QEMU. Who knows magic? QEMU bin format conf. Linux user space emulator QEMU environment variables. QEMU strace. Let's just set that and just see if any magic happens to see if this holds any water. Yes, it does. Okay. I don't know what to think, to be honest. I mean, then again, I'm guessing maybe the people who cooked up this crazy awesome bin format misc, what do we call it? User space simulation? What is it? QEMU user mode. Maybe the expectation wasn't that cross-architecture binaries dropped on a box get made set UID, so maybe it is just the environment variables for the week. I don't know. I don't know what to think. This is crazy. This is nuts. What have we got? So we've got QEMU strace in the strings of this QEMU MIPS. Do we also have things like QEMU log file name, QEMU log? Are these all environment variables we get to play with? I don't know. What was that? There was QEMU version. Yeah, so these look like they're environment variables we can play with. So I like this. Let's grep for beginning of line QEMU underscore and see what we have in here. LD prefix. Can we load an arbitrary library? QEMU setenv, unsetenv, stack size, log, trace, QEMU log equals 1. Maybe just search Google for QEMU strace. What do we have to play with? Oh, like this. This documentation looks a bit more fleshed out. Okay, here we go. So maybe we can run the process without dropping privs, still get GDB up and running, but GDB wasn't installed on the box, which makes me think that maybe we don't need that. QEMU argv0 forces target process argv0 to be argv0. Can we just tell it to run something else? argv0 bin sure. Looks like it's not that simple. What's this GDB magic? Is this something like a GDB server we can connect to? How does the GDB client server stuff work? And I mean, if this works, it works. But the thing that concerns me is GDB wasn't on the box till I installed it. Maybe once I solve it, I can ask Bitcoin if this is intended, or if he really wants me to find another way to do it. Connect to server. How do we... Yeah, it could be the case that Wolf could be the case. Serializing says, I don't think GDB is the thing here. As the code in the executable and for the strace. I'm not sure I follow serializing. I don't understand. Target remote host port. So you just do it from GDB itself, do you, Wolf? GDB target remote 127.0.0.1 1.2.3.4 target. Okay, so now I'm remote debugging. Is the idea now that I can just like rewrite the executable code to spawn a shell and then continue it? Info reg. So I can see the... So now if I like set EIP, EIP is already 0. If I just continue, yeah, there we go, it continues and runs away on me. Would this really be what we're meant to be doing, do you think? It just bothers me because I don't know MIPS, so I don't know what to do with what I've got now. I'm like the dog that caught the car. I don't know what to do with it. serializing. This is a moderate challenge, so maybe it's intended. I would think this would be I'm not sure, serializing what you're trying to say there. I would think this would be more advanced. Do you think that doing what we're doing is more advanced and therefore is not intended? MIPS instructions if I want to try that route. Again, I don't have copy paste running, so I'm going to have to find this myself with Google. Keek, the thing is I'm running GDBs myself, so I don't know if GDB can bang. Yeah, GDB can bang, but I'm still only myself because GDB is running that in my shell. It's not asking the victim process to run it for us. I guess just really quickly, is SPIM actually running as our victim user? It looks like it is, so that's good. Volvent, any other environment? Okay. Thank you, Volvent. Put me out of my misery there. I think that indicates that there's something easier we can be doing, and that I'm going about this entirely the wrong way. Maybe LD prefix. Oh yeah, I did see that, didn't I? But gave up on it. Yeah. QEMU. It's been a while since I've done the LD preload stuff. How does it work? Is LD prefix the same as LD preload? It just lets us provide additional path for the libraries, right? Where were we? I've lost my listing of all the tools and toys I had available to me. Yeah, it's not there. Yeah, this looks good. Yeah, I think that's our next best option, isn't it? Oh, but now I'm gonna have to like cross-compile probably something for MIPS that. I should probably stop grumbling and just do it, hey. QEMU LD prefix. QEMU LD prefix equals current directory. Challenges whatTHEarch SPIM. Keek does the executable. Yeah, it did. I did see some before. In fact, if we just go to our trace, was it in there? Challenges, whatTHEarch, SPIM. I don't have my tmux working, so I can't search backwards for .so. But like, yeah, it's opening /lib/libc.so.6. Actually, I like that because that's not a MIPS library, that's just a C library. So we should be fine, we shouldn't have to cross-compile stuff. QEMU LD prefix being the current directory running the process. We get /lib/ldso1, no such file. If we just touch that file, does it get differently unhappy? Nope. Where's my trace stuff? grep.so. What is the default path? It was down here, wasn't it? For ARM, it's etc qemu bin format ARM. Bin format, not there. Alright, I'm going to take just a quick 2-minute breather and we'll get back and figure out what we can do with this QEMU LD prefix tool, even if, assuming that's what we're meant to be doing. But anyway, I'm going to take a quick 2-minute breather, go get yourself an ice cream, cup of tea, whatever it may be, and I'll see you soon. Alrighty, we're back. I've caught my breath, I've regrouped. And apologies, by the way, I know that much of this sort of stream where I'm a little bit out of my depth can be a bit dry, where I'm just frantically Googling and a little bit out of beyond my own pay grade. But thanks for your persistence and thanks for your patience while I just slowly kind of page in this new world and start to understand it. So I was thinking in the break, maybe an LD prefix, and by the way, I do realize that I can get tunnel vision. This isn't necessarily the right environment variable to be playing with. Volvent did kindly give us the tip that maybe the GDB one wasn't intended. I'm not looking for more steering just yet. We'll play with LD prefix a little bit. We'll also keep in mind that maybe this just isn't necessarily the way to be going forward. Bitcoin, thanks very much, dude. I appreciate that. Maybe an LD prefix isn't like another directory that gets added to your library search path. Maybe it's literally a prefix that gets put on front of all the libraries that go to get loaded. So in the case where I did the PWD, QEMU LD prefix is the present directory and then run spim. I got this /lib/ldso1, no such file or directory. What if we make directory lib and then copy lib? Do we even have /lib? Yep. LDSO, do we have LDSO1? Nope. What if we find /-name LDSO1? User MIPS Linux GNU. I like that. Aha, this is what I'm thinking with the prefix. What if we copy this file into lib and then do it again? LDSO1 permission denied. Okay, so now I at least think I've stumbled my way into what a prefix actually means. It's not an extra search path directory. It's literally the thing that gets slapped on front of paths like this. So we need to chmod, can't even type, chmod 644 our working directory and lib. What? Oh, I just like stripped my own permissions, didn't I? Chmod, what are we? 755 for directories. Did I just kill that directory on myself? temp.6x-d chmod 755 that. Alright, we're back. I just locked myself out of a directory temporarily. Chmod 755, the lib directory, and then do our pwd trick again. Okay. We're getting somewhere. Error while loading shared libraries. libc so6 cannot open shared object file. No such file or directory. What if we do the QEMU trace equals 1? I just broke. Ignore that. That was me relying on shell bindings I don't have set on this machine. QEMU trace equals 1. That. Grep. What are we looking for? libc. It's not happy. strace. All of that mess. No. Where do we go and put our libc? /name libc so6. Can't type. /. So we've got another MIPS thing hanging around. I don't like all these MIPS things. What if we just put the x86 one there? I'm just curious, will that work? Copy that to lib. What have we got? We've got lib ldso1. File lib ldso1. MIPS. Do I need to make directory lib user that lib-p and then copy this file into it? Is that going to make our binary happy? libc so6 chmod 755 all the things lib user that. Which libc does it want and where does it want it? Can we do QEMU trace equals 1 on the binary grep libc .so. Do I need to QEMU strace? Is that what it was? Okay. Great. Good. Back on board now. Grep libc. Nope. Need to grep libc. Thank you. No such file, no such file, no such file, no such file. So it seems like it's happy with libc. File that. Okay, that got a 3. Find name libc so6 to the dev null. What if we just copy that into lib and do our pwd trick again? Okay, we're getting somewhere. It's not happy because it's the wrong class. Let's copy that one into lib, do the pwd trick. Okay. So we can now control the libraries that get loaded. If we just replace one of those with one of the naughty libraries that just run our commands straight away upon being like loaded, do we win? Even if it's an x86 library, because can we build for MIPS on here? Cross-compiling something, it's been a while since I've done that, and I really only played around with it to get a thing done and then didn't learn anything out of it because my way of learning is just to get something done. What can we do with this? So we've got... We don't need this anymore. We don't need lib user. These two libraries here, they're not x86 libraries, but we can control them, and they get loaded by our setuid MIPS process. Elttam's got a post on the first page for LD load library exploit. Why not? This is a great post, by the way, this Go Ahead Webs post. Check it out if you haven't already. Serializing, yeah, maybe they have. Maybe there's just a MIPS one we can download, or maybe Elttam's about to tell us what we need for building malicious libraries. This is all about LD preload exploitation, which is similar to what we're doing. Yeah, Wolf, have you read this? Because it's awesome. It's going back on my reading list because it's been a while since I read it and it's great. This is the sort of thing I'm thinking, except I just wonder if we need to cross-compile the library. So here's a C payload that has a static void before main being a constructor that does stuff. Then we build it as a shared library, shared object, position independent code as payload.so. If we just go and replace one of those two libraries that are getting loaded with this type of naughty library, like, do we win, or do we need to cross-compile it and do all sorts of awful stuff? Let's call it payload.c. And then we've got this GCC wheeze. This is called payload.so. Keep things consistent. lslib. Let's move libc to lib. Opponent function, change the length in your right call. Thank you. Whoops. Guessing it should be 4 to account for the new line. Doesn't it be 5 to account for a null byte? I don't know. Opponent function says never mind. How does write work? What man page is it in? 5. 4, 5. Can we just puts? Are we allowed to puts in? Probably are, aren't we? And build it. Where is puts? Man puts. It is in stdio.h. There we go. That'll do, right? Screw this write noise. Copy payload.so. Do we just move one of our libraries out of the way? No. Move lib/libc to .old. Copy payload.so to lib/libc. And then do the pwd trick. Yep. Doesn't want to load it. So we need to cross compile, right? Dang it. GCC, compile, cross compile MIPS. Did Elttam go and put whatever we need on the box for us to do this, or will we have to do it on another machine? Volvent, is there a MIPS Linux GNU GCC? Thank you. I was hoping that you put the right tools there for me. MIPS Linux GNU GCC. Thank you so much. So we do, I'm guessing, MIPS Linux GNU GCC, shared object, position independent, payload.c, punch it out to payload.so. And then we copy the payload to libc so6, run it, and we don't get any of our hacks, we just get a whole bunch of complaining. It so does, doesn't it, AtWolf? libc so6, no version information, which is required. So maybe libc so6 isn't the thing we want to hijack. Move libc so6.old to libc so6. Move lib. What if we just replace the loader? Does that make any sense, or is that even crazier? Matt, what keyboard do you use? I've got a Ducky Mini 2 something. Ducky 1.2. It's like the full-blown one. Yes, a loud one indeed. They're cherry brown switches, but they're still loud enough. Copy the payload. You know, actually a while ago I was EQing my mic and I was playing with the noise gate so that while I'm typing, the noise gate would be such that only when I talked would the microphone open, and when I stopped talking you wouldn't hear anything to get rid of background noise and get rid of the keyboard. And I did that, and I found watching the test recordings of it really disconcerting, because you'd see letters coming up on the screen but you wouldn't hear the clicky clacky, which I know some people don't like clicky clacky, but it's kind of like if you watched a movie and there were no footsteps, you'd be like, everyone's moving but there's no footsteps that I can hear. I found it disconcerting to not have the keyboard noise in the recording. So yeah, got to keep the keyboard sounds, I think so. Barney, it's not that I liked them. I mean, I liked them, and I had one. My first mech was a DAS keyboard, and it got broken in my luggage when I was schlepping around the place, and I had it for years, and then I packed it poorly, and I'd gotten really lazy with my packing, and I packed it, and it got broken in transit. So now when I travel with my keyboard, it goes in the original box that I bought it in with all the padding and whatnot. So this is a replacement keyboard for when I broke my old one. And I like the Ducky. I think I prefer it to the DAS. So we're going to just go and replace... Did I not... Hang on. I screwed something up here. Move lib ldso1 to .old. There we go. Copy the payload to lib ld. Do the trick. Segfault. I mean, that's better than all this wheeze we were getting up here, but it's still not happy. So, lib ldso1. So we can build the library, we just don't really know what to do with it. Men's says maybe puts was bad. Maybe. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking at Wolf, that we can't just go and replace something like libc with a whole bunch of nothing. Except for a constructor that does naughty stuff. Up here we were seeing that libc has no version information. So yeah, it was unhappy. I mean, you would have thought if it got loaded, then our stuff should have happened. But maybe we need to go back to this write stuff. Write hacks 4? Is that what we need? GCC. Move libc to .old and copy the payload to libc and do the trick. Yeah, the hacks still didn't come up. Maybe you can add elf flags to existing MIPS libc to force loading a third SO with the payload. Maybe we can. What is this elf flag? Is there a flag that I could have used that's not the LD prefix? Is that what you're suggesting? We've been targeting this one. It'd be great if there was just like a preload flag. Where's my strings at? So we've got LD prefix. Modifying elf headers. Right, okay, yeah. Yep, I understand now. We probably can. I just don't really know how to go and hack on existing libraries to shim in our own nasty stuff. How would we do that? How would we hack on an existing library rather than just replacing it with something with a constructor? To either, you're right, you know, load our payload.so, which then has a constructor, or if we're modifying libc, we can just go and mess with challenges. What level is this? whatTHEarch. spim.c. If we just go and replace printf with something nasty, we win anyway. Modifying the elf headers of MIPS libc. When you say MIPS libc, you're talking about this file here, right? Like that's the file you're thinking of modifying the elf headers of. I don't really know that much about elf headers. I probably should. But is there like a thing in the elf headers that we can easily hack to have it pull in another library? Is that what you're saying? Let's go and get rid of this binary ninja. Let's go and pull this libc down. Excuse me, Binary Ninja, why were you trying to remove that file? This is a really small file. What's going on? Shouldn't be small, it's 1.5 megs. Maybe some of these functions are misleading. Anyway, so here's our elf headers. Keek, what are you suggesting we hack on? I mean, maybe Binary Ninja's not the best thing to be using to look at these. Maybe there's a header that, if it's not set, doesn't show up here. But I mean, if we want to hack on this file without disturbing any offsets within it, Menz said we copied down the hacked one. Probably did, didn't we, Menz? libc, we scp libc so6. Yeah, we did. How did we do that? Oh, we should have copied down libc so6.old, right? Thank you very much, mans. So the old file is one we want. Good catch. That looks better. How do I get to my headers? Here we go. So here's our headers. Again, what's the plan? What are we tweaking in here? Because nothing's really jumping out at me. Not that I've tweaked elf headers before. This is a little bit foreign to me. I really am at the moment like the dog that caught the car. This is a very meaty challenge for, is it a medium? Where are we? whatTHEarch moderate? Yeah, it's a decent one, isn't it? Pwn function, why not overwrite printf? Because I don't know how to write MIPS shellcode. What if, here's a horrible idea. Where's my source code? Printf, hello world. What if we hijack printf and redirect it to system, and then drop a binary on the path called hello with a capital H? Would that work? I mean, if we can replace this library, maybe it's puts, maybe it is pwn function, maybe it is. I think we saw that it was that actually. File open, pwd, spim, flag's a flag, exactly right, menstrual. Main, yeah, it's using puts. It got optimized to a puts. Didn't system use shirt which drops permissions? Yes. Great call, Keek. Great call. Yeah, but pwn function, yeah, no, you're right, pwn function, you're not wrong. But we can't use exec because it gets past a single string argument. That's why I was thinking system. But yes, the shell will drop our privileges because we're doing set UID. I mean, MIPS shellcode pasted over the top of the printf function or the puts function, I should say. It'll work, right? Well, are any other objects loaded? I was guessing no because it wasn't complaining about not being able to find any. Qemu strace is that. So it looks for the LDSO preload stuff, but it's actually doing an open on libc, 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 libc. So no, it needs the loader and it needs libc, but it's not naturally looking to open anything else. Nothing else that contains .so at least. What about just patching puts with some shellcode? I mean, MIPS shellcode, Ponecraft shellcraft MIP, Ponelib shellcraft MIPS, I should say. Okay. Python 3, import pwn. Really? Ah, Python 2. Import pwn. There we go. Pwn.shell. Why not get tab completion in Python 2? Alrighty. What have we got? Ponelib shellcraft MIPS Linux cat opens a file and writes its contents to the specified file descriptor. If we're just going for flags of flag, we don't need a shell. This should do it for us, right? Shellcraft MIPS Linux cat. What's the file we want to leak? Challenges. whatTHEarch flag.txt. Pwn.that. Now do we have to we have to assemble this. How do we ponelib shellcode assemble pwn.asm? How does pwn.asm work? And do we need to set the architecture or anything crazy? Did I miss the crypto challenge? You're already in Pwn. Yeah, we're not doing crypto right now. We finished the Insatiable Birdie series. That one's done. If you're talking about the crypto pals that I was thinking of doing next, Elttam went and dropped Disparate Penguin, and so we decided to do that instead of crypto pals. Looks like PatchElf has add needed, which should create DT needed entries for loading additional SO. Cool. Keek, I'm going to push that on the stack. I'm going to blindly plow on with my paste some shellcode over the top of puts and cross my fingers strategy. It's nasty, but I'm curious to see how it goes. But if it fails, we'll definitely have a look at PatchElf. Okay, so here we go. ASM architecture equals OS equals. Right, so now we should be able to pwn.asm that arch equals MIPS. Okay, could not find AS installed for context type MIPS. Try installing bin utils. Great, so now we're building something, and we saw how long building was taking us before. I don't want to be doing this. Is there an alternative to getting this assembled for us that doesn't involve this? Screw it. Let's just give it a minute and see how it goes. Pulling stuff down off GNU seems sane enough, right? And then we're doing some GPG verification. Cool, that'll do. Building 31 megabytes of stuff does not sound like fun. At Wolf, yeah, I'm not on the VM anymore. I'm on, I'm in a Docker container. Alright, while this builds, I'm going to take a quick 2-minute breather. The time is at 10:30. Stick around, hopefully we'll close this one out soon. But if this doesn't build right or we still can't assemble some shellcode, we'll go to look at how patch elf works. So bear with me and we'll be back soon. Alrighty, we are back. The build finished. There was some errors. Hopefully they don't matter. So now if we try and assemble this shellcode again, yeah, they matter. Dang it. Alright, so installing bin utils did not work by the looks of it, which means we can't assemble that shellcode, which is a pain. The other idea, which was from Keek, was to use patch elf. So now patch elf, is that a hacker tool? Is that a development tool? Is that a Linux core utility or what? What are we doing? It looks like it has add needed, which should create DT needed entries for loading additional shared objects. We've got some more making ahead of us, great. Did I install the architecture specific bin utils serializing? I don't know. What did I do? I ran build.sh, which architecture. Whoops. Let's try that again. Do I need to do the wget again? I don't think I do I? Don't need the wget, don't need GPG, don't need tar. Make directory cd, export, configure, make. Let's just run that, hey. And wait again. Error. Changes in the environment can compromise the build. Run, make dist clean. Alright, let's remove, what are we doing? Bin utils build. And let's uncomment the tar. Can anyone help me with a file share folder on my phone? What is file transport 1.xml? I don't know. And I don't know if you'll be getting help from people in this room. Sorry, that's a bit of an obscure question. Don't really know if that's diagnosable over chat. If anyone knows what file transport 1.xml might be, please speak up. But yeah, sorry, dude. Not sure if we can help there. Hi from Italy. What do you think about Linux system? I love Linux. I'm a masochist and I use Linux on the desktop. And I think it's quite nice. I don't know if it's for everyone, especially for on the desktop purposes. On the server, certainly a different story, but on the desktop, not for everyone, and that's fine. I like it. It's an environment that I feel quite comfortable in and that I can get things done quickly in, although there is this one comic that triggers me, just because command line doesn't make it faster. See if I can find this comic that always makes me chuckle. No, I can't find it. The cam is lagging. Is that because I'm building stuff, or it's a little bit jittery? Hopefully when I stop building stuff it gets better. Load lol? No, I'm not able to help with that, sorry. If no one else is speaking up, I would suggest that no one else is able or willing to help either, so sorry about that. I can't find this comic I'm trying to find, but there's this great comic where it's like, I found the scroll of truth, and he unfurls it and it says, just because you're doing it on the command line doesn't make it faster. He goes, yeah, and throws the scroll away, which I think is beautiful. Building. While this builds, let's just go read about Patch Elf, hey? Right, okay. So we would just be doing Patch Elf add needed to okay, so add needed to be payload.so, which could have opening the flag, reading the flag, writing the contents, and we would add the payload.so to libc.so. Would that be the idea? You can download a precompiled binary. I like that because we're just running it inside, I guess, the VM, which I really don't care about, let alone our Docker containers, which I also don't care about. Let's go and grab that release and pull it down while we build, hey? My build's still going. Okay, so here's the VM. Pull down Patch Elf. For this case, would adding the dependency be any different from using LD preload? I don't know if we can do LD preload. We're not doing LD preload, we're doing LD prefix. We're doing QEMU LD prefix, which basically lets us... It's not a preload, it's us saying this is where to go find libc. So we would be making libc dependent on our binary so that libc would load our payload for us. I'm guessing with setuid binaries, LD preload, I'm guessing with setuid binaries, it's a Linux thing, just like you can't debug a setuid binary and still retain the setuid-ness of it. Just like you can't even strace a setuid binary and retain the setuid-ness of it. I'm guessing you can't do LD preload. Yeah, Hamlet. So if we were doing QEMU LD preload, totally different. But QEMU, the bug in this seems to be that we've got a setuid binary that runs using this magic under QEMU, and QEMU gives us a certain set of environment variables that we can control that don't get tossed by setuid. And LD prefix is one of them, but LD preload doesn't seem to exist. Okay, so our make here is done. Can we assemble this shellcode? Nope, we still can't assemble our shellcode. Gosh dang it. Yeah, well, there would be, wouldn't there? If you could LD preload setuids, because every box has setuid binaries, like sudo is a setuid binary. So yeah, that would be bad times. All right, let's throw away the shellcode idea and double down now on the patch elf stuff. Make directory patch elf tar xf 010. I just downloaded source code. Let's try the zip file. Maybe the zip file actually has a binary in it. There was no binary in that one, was there? No, I don't think there was. Nah. Let's W get a binary. We'll W get the zip and hope there's a binary in there. I was promised binaries. Where's my binaries? Oh, now I'm just angry. Like, am I going crazy? I was told that there were binaries on the releases page. Alright, guess we're building it. Makefile.am. How do you build stuff with a makefile.am? I should know this sort of stuff, but I don't. Automake, is it automake, is it? README had instructions. That'd be smart, wouldn't it? Actually reading the README. Bootstrap, configure, make install. Okay. So I don't have build tool stuff. Blah. Let's do this on the Docker host. PWD. Okay, let's go and download that release tarball again. So it was bootstrap, and then what? Configure make. While that churns away, I think I've already got... So I've got libc already. We'll hang it off of there, hey? This environment, is it i3? It is i3. Wolf. Oh, probably doesn't. It probably does, doesn't it? Dang it. Looks like we've built it anyway. Have we? Did we? Where is my patch elf? It's in source. Okay, so we've got patch elf now. So what do we want to do? We want to patch elf, source, patch elf, add needed payload.so to libc so6.old. That seemed easy. Still getting used to i3 and leaving KDE. Yeah, good riddance KDE. I love i3. I've been using it for a long time and it's quite nice. Okay, so it looks like we've just patched libc to require payload.so. So now we schlep it back up there. SCP. The .old version, which is a terrible name now in hindsight. We're putting it up as .old.hacked. So now back on the challenge box, we'll move lib/libc.so.6.old.hacked to libc.so.6.hacked. Just move it out of the way. And it depended on payload.so, didn't it? Yeah, it did. Where is payload.so going to be looked for? I guess we'll find out. We'll find out, won't we? Copy libc so6 hacked to lib/libc.so.6. That should be fine. pwd trick. libc cannot open, no such file or directory. Is that it trying to... Where's my strace stuff? My payload's not in there. Yeah. So I've got payload.so there. If I copy payload.so to lib, now Spim is just whinging about libc so6 cannot open shared object file, no such file or directory. So Keek, what do you think? Is this something that you were anticipating and have any ideas about? I'm still beginning in security, but I'm studying Python and Docker. Docker's really nice. Python's also quite nice, so good choice of things to learn about. Just in case, try non-hacked. Was strace previously showing open temp? Was strace previously showing open temp lib? No, because this is like a QEMU strace. It's showing it just relative to the prefix I gave, I think. Actually, hang on. Here, my strace here didn't have the LD prefix wheeze. So let's have the prefix wheeze and the strace going on. And then grep for .so. I only had one of the options. So is my payload stuff here now? No, it's still not there. Yeah, Hamlet, good call, good call. Permissions. Hamlet says it did find the file. Got a 3 back, yeah. Permissions, good idea. ls-la lib. Payload is fine. libc so6 looks fine. So I think we have to try the non-hacked version. So we're going to copy libc so6.old to libc so6. Do the trick. Yeah, and that's happy, but it's only when we copy libc so6 hacked to libc so6. It gets unhappy there. Can we LDD libc so6 hacked? No, not dynamic, so it's not going to tell us what it pulls in. Men's, could it be because patch elf is run on a different architecture? Don't know, dude. File libc so6. It's still showing up as MIPS. So I don't think we would have damaged it using an elf patcher because elf's an elf, right? Read, do I have read elf? Yep. libc so6 hacked. Gives me help text. Sorry, is that not a small I? I can't quite read that there. Dash L. Do you want dash small L, did you? Yeah, cool, thank you. Does the interpreter exist? It does, and it also exists in my... I thought it did. Put it this way, it exists in my LD prefix. With the PWD trick here. So it exists there. Do we keep digging in this direction, or do we go back to the idea of getting some MIPS shellcode over the top of things? So it looks like here we've got some MIPS assembly. We just need to assemble it. Can Binary Ninja assemble it for us? Looks like Binary Ninja can assemble on the fly when you right click and try and patch. That was an airplane indeed. Indeed. Wolf, you reckon the read the patch elf seems close, hey? From the doco. I'm not sure which doco has you feeling good there, Wolf. I'm starting to fade. I'm getting tired. Is the assembly 32 or 64-bit? Look, I'm not good at MIPS, so I couldn't recognize it looking at the disassembly, but it's a 32-bit elf binary for MIPS. Could it be that our payload is 64 bits? MIPS Linux GNU GCC payload.so. File payload.so. That's 32 as well. So that's... Yeah, it feels kind of janky trying to make libc depend on it though, and Yeah, things are getting really unhappy. libc cannot open shared object file. No such file or directory. Does the payload need to be a library? The doco says just a program. Maybe it needs to be a standard binary. No, I think at Wolf you're looking at this. This is the library being depended upon, and this is the program being patched. That's how I read that. Or is it the other way? Are you reading it the other way around? Like, for example, when you're setting an interpreter, that's the interpreter, that's the program, that's the program, that's the program. Yeah, Wolf, I think it's my way around. Barney says, is the challenges folder at root or in user home? It's in /challenges. It is challenges whatTHEarch spim. I'm almost feeling like going back to the Barney says what permissions are set. Read write set UID, readable executable for CTF, nothing for the world. So we can't just go and hack on it and patch it and whatnot, but we can currently patch the libraries it's loading. What about that shellcode idea? How can we assemble MIPS assembly right now? Do we go back to the bin utils or whatever it was build that we did? Can you look at a diff between the original and hacked libc? Yeah. I'm getting lost. So we've got libc so6 hacked and lib/libc so6 old. That's the hacked one. That's the old one. I don't think a binary diff's going to do us much good. So how about we do the readelf-l of each of them? Can we do diff that against readelf-l that? Does this help Hamlet? libc so6 hacked has 14 program headers as opposed to 13 on the left. Looks like there was a lot of damage done, a lot of maybe shifting of things around. Can we grep for payload.so in libc so6 hacked? Yeah, so the string payload.so appears in the hacked file. Me neither, Hamlet. Me neither. I'm flying blind here as well. Feels kind of janky though. This patch elf business feels a bit janky. I'm in the wrong container. Here we go. Can't type. Python 2, import pwn. So here's our assembly. We try and assemble it with MIPS. Could not find AS installed for context type. Arch is MIPS, bits is 32, endian is little. Try installing bin utils for this architecture. I mean, that blew up on us though, right? Get rid of the tar. Wolf, Python 2 maybe, Pwn tools no. It is not. Make info is missing on your system. When in doubt, Google error messages. Yeah, Wolf, I'm not sure if it'll have the assembler that Pwn tools craves though. Text info. Let's install text info. Privacy screen going up. Come on, type my password for me, password manager. There we go. Wolf. It was a pretty hard one for me to break as well. All right, I'm gonna have to head off sometime soon. I can't keep going all night on this one. If we can get this made, if we get some shell code, we'll keep going. If I can't get this made and can't get shell code, we'll pack it in and we'll pick this up another day, hey? It installs Perl and the rest of the world with it, hey, Atwolf. The good thing is I do have an apt cache, so I'm not pulling necessarily everything in over 4G when I do an apt install. Obviously, getting stuff off GitHub and pulling stuff off GitHub and pulling stuff off Docker Hub, I don't have the luxury of that cache. Let's try again. And what's the bet that that error is not actually the one that matters as well? What's the bet that's more of a warning and there's a tragic error somewhere else? Yeah, right out, Wolf. I guess it's good that we do have a package manager to look after it for us though, right? I mean, I think I would take a package manager with many dependencies than not having a package manager at all and having to deal with the dependencies yourself. I don't like some of those errors, but anyway, we'll see. Yeah, indeed. Indeed, Atwolf. Maybe if I'd done the no installs recommended or whatever it is, I may have dodged a few of them, but well. As I said, I do have a apt cache sitting between me and Debian, so not everything has to come down from them every time. Now, while this builds, does Binary Ninja actually have a right-click paste from file, maybe? Yuck, maybe it doesn't. Puts. And I just lost my puts. Yuck, maybe... okay. Binary Ninja patch from file. That build is still chugging along. GDB has remote get target file, host file. Not all GDB servers support it. Alright, Keek, that actually sounds easy enough that it's worth giving a go. And a flag's a flag, right? QEMU GDB is 1, 2, 3, 4 on challenges. What are we doing? whatTHEarch, spim, GDB. What was it? Target remote 127001 port 1234. Then I'll do remote get target file. Let's go temp win host file being, hang on, is target file my end or their end? File to get is challenges whatTHEarch flag.txt, I think. Host file being my file, temp / win. Function not implemented. Dang it. That was a great idea. But indeed, not all GDB servers support it. Looks like this one doesn't. But that was a good idea. I like that. How's our build going? Our build's done. And that looks a bit healthier as well. We now have shellcode. So that's a thing, right? Now, how do we get this put over the top of our puts function? And hope that, I mean, that looks like it's shorter than puts, so hopefully it doesn't smash anything delicate. How do we patch stuff? How do we replace our puts with this mess of shellcode? Hamlet, so if you can patch the target binary. Hamlet, we're not patching the target binary. What we're doing is doing QEMU LD prefix, and we're able to get the QEMU emulation layer to look at a place we choose to get the libraries for, like, the MIPS libraries, the MIPS libc. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. ls lib. So we get the ability to now provide libc. So that's the bug. We can't patch the target setuid binary directly. We can only tell it where to get its libc at runtime, and then we can patch that libc. So we kind of pretty early on had the toy. We had the primitive. We've just been the dog that caught the car and doesn't know what to do with it. And we've been figuring out how do we actually use this primitive. Okay, so here we go. Hex sizing. So we can go to the hex editor view. Split to new window. Cool, I like that. Great, looks like Binary Ninja had an assembler all along. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it wouldn't have done it for MIPS anyway. Okay, so this hex editor view, what does that give us? View. Did it tell me I could split the view somehow? Using the view, select split to new window. Where is the split to new window? I'm guessing they've moved things around. Window, split to new window, there we go. View, hex editor. Copy address, go to address there. Oh, this is getting awful. This is getting really awful. .66570. There it is there, 3C1C, 3C1C. So now can I like paste? Yeah, I can. Oh, this is awful. This is so bad. Now being Python, I think I can just go .encode hex, right? Being Python 2. There we go. Copy this and just paste it into the hex editor view. Yuck. 3C1C, paste. That's not what I wanted at all. Is it? No, 36, 38. These are all ASCII digits. 3C1C, paste from hex dump, raw hex. Okay, so I've got... I can see remnants of things like flag.txt in here if we go back to the... Puts is now really unhappy. This feels awful. This feels really bad. I don't like this. Can I undo? is puts 66570 is it right there. What are these 4 nulls doing? They're just between functions. I think they're just between functions. 66570. It doesn't have the function prolog. Good point. So where do we want to put this? $66580, is that the right place to put it? Is this the prologue here? I'm just going to put it 66570 and see what this disassembly view looks like. Screw the graph view, that didn't work. Copy that. Paste from hex dump. Why is this not working now? Copy. You're copied, right? Yes, you're copied. Paste from hex dump. Why is this not working? Paste. That worked. Paste from, oh, raw hex, that's what we want. There we go. $66570, right? $66570. It's unhappy. It's definitely unhappy. Not happy with 6861, bloody blah, bloody blah. Serializing. It doesn't have the MISP prolog functions. Function prolog. Does it need it? I'm showing my complete ignorance here. Someone who knows MIPS, please tell me where in this disassembly should I start hijacking? Or do I just hijack at the beginning but need to actually mark the function properly? Create function here. No. Starting at 80. Yeah, okay. 6580. $66,580. How do I go? Yeah, it still goes to crap. Am I failing to assemble this properly? Is that what this is? Dot disassemble that. Does that work? Arch equals MIPS. syscall looks right. If I recall correctly. Yeah, I don't quite know what I'm looking at here, to be honest. I think we might have to call it. I think we might have to accept defeat on this one for now. First instructions look right. Yeah, I think this calls for a timeout. I think we all get some rest, get some sleep, and we regroup on this in a couple of days' time. And also we consider that maybe we're on totally the wrong track and maybe there's a much saner way to be doing this. But anyway, look, I'm going to call it for now. Thank you so much, everyone, for your help. Thank you for your support, your encouragement, your ideas, your tips, your hints, your tricks. Hamlet, my pleasure. My pleasure to be streaming. It's good to be back. It's good to be back with you all. But I'm going to call it, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And I'll see you all on the tubes. Take care.